All right, welcome to the Zoom meeting for the Del Norte Economic Resiliency Group working with businesses in Del Norte County. I just want to let you know that we're recording this meeting and we'll be posting it later. We know a lot of business owners are extremely busy, and so being able to take time when these are available can be really challenging when you guys are so busy running your businesses and being parents and community members. It's a very busy time of year right now. So we're going to go through some important information we think that you should have right now. We're going to update you on some new guidance from the state, from the California Department of Public Health. We're also going to let you know of some resources available in the community, as well as some resources that we are working on coming up in the future for 2020, and give you some tips on how to get ready for future funding opportunities. So with that, I want to let you know who's here as partners and panelists for this. My name is Holly Witt. I'm the Recreation Director for the city, and I'm also one of the team members on the Economic Resiliency Task Force for the County of Del Norte. We have Sunny Valero. She is in charge of HR for the city of Crescent City, and on the Economic Resiliency Task Force, we have Cindy Vosberg. She is the director of the Chamber of Commerce for Del Norte County and Crescent City, and she's also part of the team. And we have Melody Cannon-Cutts, who is the Public Health Program Manager for Del Norte County. So we're just going to take this time. We're going to be very thoughtful, and we're going to move through this information as quickly as we can, and also make sure that you have the links that you need moving forward if you have questions after this and need to find information later. So as everyone knows, the state with Governor Newsom and the California Department of Public Health came out with a blueprint for a safer economy. And some of those things for counties, how they work is that there was a tiered system that changed about how many positive cases you would have to have in order to move through the tiers. There's 4 tiers. The colors are yellow, orange, red, and purple. You've probably seen them. Currently, we are in the orange. The bottom tier is yellow, and we're in orange. We're doing okay, and we've stayed kind of in that area recently for a while. The reason why we thought this would be a good time to have this conversation is that on October 6th, those tiers and how counties move up and down through them and the impacts to businesses was modified for small counties. So what we're going to do is the first 2 items you see on these, the first 4 items you see here, these are the same for all counties of any size. So one of the first parameters is there's an inability to skip over a tier when you're moving down. So say that you're at the most restrictive tier, you can't move down from say purple down to the least restrictive tier of yellow. You have to move down through the tiers. You have to be successful at maintaining your numbers for a minimum of 3 weeks to move down a tier to a less restrictive. The testing positive thresholds are the same through all the counties, and your county's rates of positive tests are assessed on a 2-week period. Now, what that looks like for larger counties is very different than what it now looks like for smaller counties. And that's what we're going to go to here. The reason why this is important is we had a kind of what would seem like a small surge of cases last week, where we had a lot of positive cases come up. And historically, before, we would have 1 positive case per day would have passed us through that threshold if it would have gone on for 2 weeks. And so there's a lot of concern in the community that we were going to be moved up a tier to that red level. But this all happened after the 10/06/20 assessment. And here is what the new threshold system looks like and how it affects our community. So for our small county, we now qualify for this alternate case assessment measure. So small counties are subject to all the existing blueprint rules that I went over with you, except for the thresholds down below. So right now you'll see for us to move from orange to red, we would have to have 14 positive cases per week for 2 consecutive weeks. So they've upped the amount of positive cases we can have because our population is smaller. And so this is what tells us how we would move from tier to tier. So to go from where we are moderate to substantial, which is the next one up, we will have to have 14 positive cases for 2 consecutive weeks. So, that's good news for us because we're moving back into the school setting, and we're moving back into we're practicing some other measures, moving to reducing the restrictiveness of how we engage with each other. So this is important for everyone to know so that everyone has the facts. Business owners, you have this and you know where to get it. I'm just going to pop up here to this in my tab. I already have it open in my web browser, but this COVID-19 California.gov industry guidance. This will help you. We've talked about this page many times, but this is the site where you can go and get all of this information. And how to have your business open safely. And as you go down, it has industry guidance. And for whatever tier you're on, you can find that. That's really important. So moving on from that, we know we had a surge of cases. And at this point, I'd like to bring on Melody Cannon-Cutts, who's a public health program manager, to just share with us why we saw that small surge in cases and to explain what that meant and how public health handled it.
Thank you, Holly. Well, it's true, we did have a surge in cases very recently, and the good news about that is that it was traced down to a small group of individuals and the close contacts that they had with each other. This is different than if we had a surge of cases that was in several different groups at the same time. So we were able to move in and reach out to these families and get some protective services there in place for them, and they know what to do. And we were able to contain that situation from becoming larger. So although we did have a spike in cases, we were able then to work with them immediately. It takes a lot of work. That sounds very simple. It's actually not, because one person can have 5 or 6 different contacts in each case. So it did result, though, in, because it was based in children and their contacts, it did affect 2 classes that were going to school. So they are quarantined at home. They're doing all the right things, and there's going to be an easy, we'll get through this just fine.
So Melody, that brings up a question that I think we really need to help business owners wrap their head around and prepare for as we're moving back into in-school classroom settings with children. Business owners, a lot of their employees are parents, and some of them are students. So if for high school students. So when you're doing contact tracing, say it happens to be like it was where there were positive cases of 2 students in a classroom. So that classroom setting, those students in that classroom are now home self-quarantining for 14 days?
That's right, yes.
Okay, so this is an important thing to think about as a business owner. We're going to have children going back to school, and we're going to have parents who may have to change and modify their schedule to be able to take care of their children in a different way than they had previously. So right now, kids are going to school 2 days a week. You might find that, in the coming weeks, some of your employees are going to have to change their schedule unexpectedly, like within like within 24 hours, Melody, like the next day they're not allowed to go to school, right? So it could be very short notice.
Yes.
Okay, so
It
with
is.
that, this is really important for planning a successful business, and how are you going to respond, and how are you going to handle dealing with these situations as they come up in your business. And that's why we have Sunny Valero here on this call, because she deals with HR issues for the city, and she's had to look at these issues and figure out how the city's going to go with it, and she has information about that you might want to look into. So Sunny, would you like to share with us?
Sure, I'll just take a couple of minutes. For employers, kids being back at school, a lot of germs always passed around, so you never know what they're going to be bringing home. And when you are quarantined, it does happen very quickly. So it's important for employers to be proactive at thinking about what they're going to do should this happen in their work environment. With people being taken out. So if you have the ability to telework, that's going to be an option for people while they're self-quarantining. Maybe if they have office positions, that they have the ability to bring a computer home, and maybe even have people running a work product to them and dropping it off at the doorstep. Be creative, be thoughtful as to what they're going through for that time being where they're quarantined. As an employer, each employer is different regarding how many staff you have and who's part-time, who's full-time. So you really need to really pay close attention to the Department of Labor, to their website, www.dol.gov, for any kind of regulations that are coming down. Things are constantly changing, as well as CalOSHA. And one good resource, and I will put it in the chat, is for employers to go to CalChamber HR, and that is hrcalifornia.calchamber.com. And those will have a very clear direction for employers on emergency paid sick leave, as well as the FFCRA, Families First Coronavirus Act, as well as EFMLA, which means expanded FMLA, which have different provisions for employees based on COVID restrictions. So those things have all come up for COVID. Really take a look at them, see if they pertain to your business. Find someone that can help you navigate those things. There's lots of consultants that are out there that can help you if you have HR questions, because there's a huge liability for employers. And so, workman's comp concerns you need to think of, and also reporting to CalOSHA should an employee get sick. And there's new regulations that are going to be changing the first of the year. So pay attention to AB 685, which are regulations on reporting potential exposures to other employees, as well as in through the workplace, and to public health. So be very stringent at making sure you're on they're called white paper lists, where they send you the emails where you're paying attention to laws that are constantly changing, so you don't find yourself in liability issues.
And the thing that Sunny and I were talking about just earlier is that call their numbers, call their hotline numbers, call and ask questions. A lot of these people are more concerned that you're asking questions and getting the answers that you need. Like, don't worry about a stupid question, call and ask. And if you forget who to call or what to do, hopefully, one of us on here, reach out to us individually. We'll connect, we'll bug Sunny. If you don't know her, she's super sweet. We'll get you connected to the websites that you need to check in on to make sure that you're in the right direction, right? We want to make sure you guys are safe and successful and able to run your businesses to the best of your abilities. And that part of that is all the information coming at you and trying to keep ahead of it. Melody, I have a quick question again for you for public health. What are the recommendations for businesses? I know that there's been spread in some, of course, in employees, but what are the recommendations coming from California Department of Public Health? And maybe even more specifically, what are you seeing here in Del Norte County? What good tips or advice could you give to business owners to help keep their employees healthy and their customers safe?
The rules really haven't changed very much in the recommendations. The simplest thing to remember is that employees need to be wearing masks during the day during their shifts. Your customers need to be wearing masks when they come in to visit your businesses. Social distancing still needs to be maintained at 6 feet. Hand sanitizer, of course, is you should have that on hand at your business locations, along with a supply of masks should someone show up without one, and kind, gentle reminders that masks are required at your businesses. It's still going to be the way to prevent the spread of this disease. And there's no magic wand in this. It's going to have to be from now until things get better. We're going to have to maintain this, consistently. It's still the best recommendation.
And I just want to touch on that. I sit in on the North Coast Economic Resiliency Group that has Mendocino, Humboldt, Lake, sometimes Del Norte County. And a lot of the counties around us have really gotten down to that yellow, least restrictive level. And one of the things that they've said has really helped them is just really being supportive of each other, wearing masks, and really being supportive of each other and celebrating each other and encouraging each other. Those of you that are following that and really being positive to your employees that are doing it, because it's challenging, but those counties that are really implementing that are seeing the success of lower rates and least restrictive business policies and more freedom to be thriving and having their businesses run the way that they want to. So, one thing we just want to say is, you have to think ahead to the impacts the impact it's going to have on your business. We just saw recently in Medford, a McDonald's had over 21 cases out of the one restaurant, and it really impacted their reputation. It really impacted a lot of things. It impacted how if they could stay open. So there's different things that as you're thinking about this masking and policies and how you're going to deal with this, staffing, do you have enough staffing and coverage? How's that going? How is it going to affect your reputation if you have a spread in your establishment? And closing, are you able to close if you're not able to, have your staff be there if everyone has to be quarantined? I know that there are businesses around that the impact of positive cases and quarantining those that came into contact that were not wearing masks and being safe, it can affect businesses. So try and support each other, try and support your staff, and to follow these things, because what we want most is we want our businesses thriving and doing well. And you're in a very challenging situation. So we're working on applauding those businesses that are doing a spectacular job. And so keep a lookout for that. We're really going to be celebrating those businesses that are doing great. The other thing that I want to bring up is that, Melody Cannon Cutts is here on this phone call and on this meeting. And in previous meetings, we've had Dr. Raywald. They're really great people who are out for supporting our whole community. It takes everybody. And so if you have questions, reach out to public health, ask them. If something comes up that you're concerned about, they're busy, so it might take a minute for them to get back to you. But everyone's here to support the businesses as well. Right, Melody? You field a lot of phone calls.
We do. We take calls all day long about COVID-19 issues, and we're here to help, and we want everyone to do very well in our community. We want complete wellness and success for all.
So really reach out to them if you have questions. Don't worry about it. Don't be concerned. Don't be afraid. Like if you think you had a scare or you think someone was or wasn't, this isn't the blame game. We're not trying to get people in trouble. We're trying to help everyone get through this. And with that, I just want to touch on it. You know, there have been a lot of requirements for businesses regarding being up to standard with, you know, the plexiglass and the phasing of all this reopening. And there's a lot of impact and loss of economy for you. So we still have the Donor Economic Resiliency Small Business Stabilization Loans. There's 5,000 per applicant. It includes free business support with our consultant, Claggett Wolf Associates, who's amazing, and there's 0 interest loans. And we still have those available. So, you know, we're out of our summer season, we're moving into fall and winter. If something happens and you guys need support, or if you're already thinking about some way you want to modify your business and be more successful moving into winter, like you're thinking ahead, reach out and see if this small stabilization loan works for you. It's really simple application process, and there's a lot of support going through that with our consultant. The other thing we want to let you guys all know about is the forgiveness process for PPP is out there now. There is a smaller sheet and a smaller forgivable form for $50,000 or less. This is amazing. Everyone who has been working on these SBA loans and trying to get them out to business owners was really worried about the forgiveness process of that, and they've made it easier for the small businesses. But what we really want to recommend you do is reconnect with your business advisor if you work through SBDC, North Coast SBDCs, because they're going to help you with that process. And then you need to reconnect with your specific lender. So, you know, many people did not get their PPP loans through their bank that they do their regular finances with. They did it through another lender. Reach out to that lender. Start having those conversations with them about their process, because each lender is going about this their own way. I also want to let you know, and I'll reach out on Facebook and in the mailing, that the North Coast SBDC will be doing a webinar with local lenders and lenders who they've worked with who supported our area, and they're going to walk you through their process. That will be coming up in the next 2 weeks. So if I were you, our team had talked about this. I talked with North Coast SBDC today. They're saying connect with your business advisor or your lender, start the process, kind of figure out, do it the best you can, and then know that this meeting is coming up that you can sit in on and listen, and they might answer any questions for you. So there's information coming, and we'll make sure to get that out to you. And there's also idle loans still available. So that's another thing to look into, and if you have questions about. We also, the economic resiliency team is working on many things, because we know that this is going to take time to recover. And this is also an opportunity for everyone to look to the future and figure out what we're going to make of this moment. And right now, the county and the city are working together with some partners, North Coast SBDC, Claggett Wolf Associates, and Arcata Economic Development Corporation, AEDC. I know some of you were able to get your PPP loan through AEDC. We're working with them on future funding. This funding should be coming out in early 2021, specifically for Delaware County. And there's going to be possibly 2 different programs coming out. What we want to encourage you to work on right now is coming up with some documents. You need to have your tax filings. They would like you to be able to generate a sales figure for each month. Or can you generate a summary of expenses for each month? These are things that you're going to want to have to apply for this additional funding and financing that's coming specifically for Delaware County. And what I want to tell you is, if you do not have these documents, if you do not have a way to generate monthly sales or monthly expenses, contact North Coast SBDC, because they will help you with that process already. The other way that you can get support getting those documents together is if you apply for the stabilization loan through us. Claggett Wolf Associates will also help you get those documents together and help you figure out how to do that. So when early 2021 January hits, you're going to be ready for those funding opportunities that will be coming your way. So there's a lot of things coming. We're really wanting to connect you with the resources that you need. So just right here, we want to let you know, Facebook, we'll be putting information out on Facebook. If you're on it, you can follow DN Economic Resiliency. You can email me, hwent@crescentcity.org, or call. If it's anything related to the small business stabilization loans or anything like that, Cindy Vosberg is here for the chamber, and she is a resource for other important things going on. Actually, Cindy Vosberg, and through the chamber, if you're part of the chamber, you'll get updates about what's going on with North Coast SBDC. As being part of chamber, they automatically get those updates. So that's another great thing. Cindy, is there anything else you'd like to add for business owners from information you've heard from the chamber?
You know, Holly, I think you've done a great job covering this. I would just like to add that if you need anything from the chamber, I'm there to help. My number is right in the phone book under the Chamber of Commerce, or my cell phone is 541-251-0591. And don't hesitate to ask for anything. Thank you, Holly.
No problem. The one thing I want to just touch on real quick is that right now you can see this is a current picture of where Del Norte County sits in the different phases in the area. And we're surrounded by yellow. We're surrounded by counties who were able to get their numbers down and have the least restrictive economy, least restrictions on their businesses and their economy moving into fall and winter. And, you know, really help and suggest that community members follow the CDPH guidelines that Melody suggested. Wearing masks, washing hands, social distancing, small group gatherings of 10 or less. And Dr. Raywald was just on KPOD and KCRE this morning, reminding people, if you do get together with small groups and family get-togethers, stay outside, try and have it be open air areas. We know it's getting hard and it's getting tiring, but we really want to keep you, the businesses, open and thriving moving into fall and winter. So you're going to see a lot coming from us about how to get Del Norte County to yellow. If you guys have any ideas or any input, reach out to us, and we're really here to support you. Anybody have anything they'd like to add before we close?
This is Melody. Reach out to us anytime. The public health phone number is 707-464-0861.
464-0861. So thank you guys for participating in this. We're really glad we got to get this information out to you. We'll put it, I'll email the link to everyone on the mailing list to the YouTube video. We'll put it on Facebook. We know there's businesses out there that may not be part of our list and may not have access to this information. If you know they're out there, send this on to them. Let's get everyone the information they need to have a safe business, a thriving business, and let's get Del Norte County to yellow. So thank you for being with us.
Good night.
All right.